Title. She drank it. And everything changed. In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far from war and machines, there was a peaceful green planet called Elaris. Birds with glowing wings flew through tall silver trees, and rivers shined like blue. Crystals. The people of this planet, known as the Elari, lived in harmony with nature. They didn't fight. They didn't lie. They didn't know what fear truly meant. But everything changed on one strange day. High above the skies of Elaris, a loud boom shook the clouds. A fireball came crashing down from space. It was not a star. It was not a meteor. It was a human military ship. Broken, burning, falling fast. The ship smashed into the forest, cutting through trees and shaking the ground. Animals screamed and ran. Smoke rose high into the air. From far away, one young Elari girl saw everything. Her name was Kalira. Kalira was not like the others. She was curious about things her people feared, especially humans. She had seen them once before, in the sky. She had heard stories. Her elders warned her. Humans are dangerous. They fight. They destroy. Stay away. But Kalira didn't believe that. So when she saw the crash, she ran toward it. The forest was quiet now. Too quiet. The air smelled like metal and fire. Kalira stepped carefully over broken tree branches and scorched earth. Soon, she found the wreckage. A black and silver ship torn in half, wires sparking and steam hissing from every side. She peeked inside. No bodies. No voices. No movement. Just silence. She moved deeper into the wreckage, her glowing green eyes watching every corner. That's when she saw it, a small glass container, glowing bright blue, sitting on a metal table. Human words were written on the side. Project V-Surge. Combat Serum, do not open. Kalira didn't understand the words. But the glow pulled her in. It felt warm, powerful, alive. She reached out and touched it. The container clicked open. Soft mist escaped. Without thinking, Kalira brought it close to her nose. The scent was strange, sweet, electric, wild. Something inside her mind whispered, "Drink." And she did. The moment the serum touched her tongue, everything changed. Her body shook. Her heart beat faster. Her vision blurred. She fell to her knees, grabbing her chest. A powerful energy rushed through her. But it was not pain. It was something else. Heat, emotion, desire, confusion. Visions flashed in her mind, images of places she had never seen. Steel cities, giant machines, loud battles. And then a face, a human face. A young man with short brown hair and sharp eyes. He wore a dark uniform with silver stars. His name echoed in her thoughts, Lt. Mason. She didn't know him. But somehow, she felt like she did. The serum wasn't made for her. It was made for human soldiers to make them stronger, faster, more aggressive in battle. But her alien body was reacting differently. Instead of aggression, she felt something deeper. Connection. Kalira stood up slowly. Her skin glowed faintly now. Her senses were sharper. She could hear every insect in the forest. She could feel the energy of the trees. But more than anything, she felt a pull, a strange need. She had to find him, the man in her vision. Suddenly, a sound echoed from the sky. Another ship. Bigger, slower. Control. Humans. A rescue team was landing. They were coming to find the serum, but it was already inside her. Kalira turned and ran into the forest, heart racing, breath shaking. She didn't know what was happening to her. She didn't know what the humans would do if they found out. But deep inside, a part of her wanted them to find her, because in that moment, something was waking up inside her. Something not alien. Something very, very human. Opening scene. Dawn on Elaris. The sun rose slowly over the alien world of Alaris. Its light touched the silver leaves of tall trees, and the ground sparkled with morning dew. Everything looked peaceful. But something had changed. In the shadows of the forest, Kalira was running. Her feet barely touched the ground. Her breath came in sharp, fast bursts. The blue glow on her skin had faded, but inside her, the fire still burned. She didn't understand what had happened. She only knew one thing: something inside her had awakened. Something wild. Something human. Far behind her, the crash site was quiet again. But above it, a new ship hovered. A dark human military dropship. Scanning the area. The rescue team had arrived. Seeing shift inside the human dropship. Lieutenant Mason stepped off the ramp first. His boots hit the ground with a heavy thud. He looked around the wreckage, jaw tight, eyes sharp. His team spread out behind him. They wore black armor, carried scanners and weapons. But Mason wasn't thinking about danger. He was thinking about the serum. "Where's the container?" he asked, walking toward the lab section of the wrecked ship. The lead scientist, Dr. Kessler, checked the logs. His face turned pale. "Gone," he said. "The serum is missing." Mason frowned. "Someone else took it?" Kessler nodded slowly. "Worse, someone used it." Scene shift. Forest edge. Kalira hid behind a tree. She was watching them. The humans. They looked strong, strange, metal on their skin. Machines in their hands. But one of them felt familiar. Him. The man from her vision. Mason. Her heart beat faster. Not from fear, from something else. From the same strange heat that had started when she drank the glowing liquid. She didn't know his name. She didn't know why her body responded to him. But she couldn't look away. Her hand shook. Her breath caught. Suddenly, her foot snapped a twig. Mason turned toward the sound instantly. His eyes met hers, even from far away. Kalira froze. Scene shift. Mason's POV. For a moment, Mason thought he was seeing things. In the trees. A figure, tall, slender, glowing slightly in the shadows. Not human. Alien. But not hostile. There. Eyes locked. He felt a strange pressure in his chest. Not fear. Something deeper. He took a step forward. The alien girl turned and vanished into the forest. "Contact," Mason said into his cum. "I saw someone, possibly an alien female. No threat detected. I'm going after her." "Wait," Kessler warned. If she took the serum, she could be dangerous. But Mason was already moving. Scene shift. Deep in the forest, Kalira kept moving fast through the woods. But her mind was spinning. Why did he look at me like that? Why do I feel drawn to him? What is this inside me? She stopped near a quiet stream, dropped to her knees, and looked at her reflection. Her eyes, once soft green, now had flecks of silver. Her veins glowed faintly. She didn't feel like herself anymore. And then, a sound. A voice. "I don't want to hurt you," Mason said, carefully stepping through the trees. "I just want to talk." Kalira turned slowly. She didn't understand all his words, but the tone, the feeling, was clear. She stepped back. Mason stopped. "Did you take it?" he asked softly. "The serum?" Kalira blinked. Then slowly she nodded. "It burned," she whispered. Her voice was strange, shaky. "Inside." Mason's eyes widened. "You're not supposed to survive it. It was made for humans, soldiers." She looked confused. "Why? Show me you?" she asked, touching her temple. "In mind. When drink?" That shook Mason. She had seen him. Before they met, the serum was connecting them somehow. Scene shift. Above them, in orbit. Back on the human command ship, red lights flashed. A voice crackled over the speaker. "New target located. Biosignature shows enhanced reaction to V-surge." Orders? The reply came cold and fast. If it's active in an alien host, retrieve or terminate. No exceptions. Ending back on Alaris, Mason looked at Kalira. He could see the fear in her eyes. And something else. She was changing. Not into a monster, into something new. He lowered his weapon and stepped closer. We'll figure this out, he sighed. Together. But far above them, the kill order had already been sent. Opening scene. Nightfall on Alaris. The forest was quiet again, but not peaceful. Kalira sat by the glowing stream, her knees pulled close, her arms wrapped around herself. The moon above her world was large and golden, casting strange shadows across her skin. Her body still trembled from the inside. The human serum was not fading. In fact, it was getting stronger. She could hear heartbeats in the distance. She could feel the heat of every living creature nearby. Her emotions were no longer quiet. They surged like waves: hunger, fear, confusion, and something else. She didn't have a word for it, but every time she thought of the human soldier, her body responded. Her chest tightened. Her fingers shook. Why him? She thought. Why do I feel this pull? Scene shift. Nearby camp, human team. Lieutenant Mason sat outside the small camp his team had set up. The air was cool, but his thoughts were heavy. The girl, no. The alien had looked into his eyes like she knew him. She had seen him before they even met. And now, he couldn't stop thinking about her. It's the serum, Dr. Kessler said, walking up behind him. It wasn't just made to boost aggression. It creates a deep neurological bond. A sense of trust, loyalty, even attraction. Mason looked at him sharply. You mean she's not choosing to feel this? Her biology is responding. But no, she didn't choose, and neither did you. Mason stood up. Then I have to find her before someone else does. Scene. Shift, flashback fragment, Kalira's mind. Kalira closed her eyes. And suddenly, she was somewhere else. Not in the forest. Not on her planet. She was standing in a long metal hallway. Soldiers marched past her. Guns, alarms, shouting. And in the center of it all, Mason, his back to her. She tried to speak. He turned, and everything went white. She gasped, blinking back to the real world. What was that memory? It was not mine. It was his. She had seen inside him. The serum was not just changing her. It was connecting them. Scene shift. Human satellite command orbit above Ilaris. Inside a dark room full of screens, a general watched Kalira's energy readings pulse like a heartbeat. Her neural link is syncing with the target. The officer said, LT, Mason? Yes, sir. Full cross activation. The bond is forming faster than expected. The general narrowed his eyes. Send the hunters. If we can't bring her in, kill her. And if Mason gets in the way, along. Pause. He's expendable. Scene shift back to forest. The pull grows stronger. Kalira stood near a glowing tree, her hand on its smooth trunk. The light calmed her, but her body was growing hotter by the hour. Not from illness, from instinct. Every part of her told her to find him. She didn't know his name, but his image was burned into her thoughts. His voice echoed in her chest. His presence was calling her, and she couldn't ignore it anymore. Meanwhile, Mason is closer than she knows. Mason pushed through the thick brush, following tracks only he could see. Broken leaves, footprints too light to belong to a soldier. Kalira, he whispered. He didn't know her name, but he felt like he did. A soft breeze brushed past his face, and he stopped. A scent, not smoke. Not danger. Her. The first. Real connection. Their paths cross again. Kalira turned her head sharply. She heard a branch move. Then footsteps. And then him. Mason stood across from her, just a few steps away. Neither of them moved. No words. Only silence. Their eyes met. Again, but this time something was different. Lyra stepped forward. Mason did the same. No weapons. No fear. Just curiosity. And a strange comfort neither could explain. Closer, a moment of truth. She reached out her hand. He slowly did the same. Their fingers almost touched, and suddenly a red laser flashed past Mason's head. They dropped to the ground. What the hell? Mason shouted, grabbing his sidearm. Lyra crouched low, her glowing eyes now sharp, alert. She hissed softly, not like an animal, like a protector. They found me, she said, her voice trembling. They want to take me. Mason looked into her eyes. Not if I can help it. Ending scene. Escape begins. They ran together, deep into the forest, moving as one. She moved like wind. He moved like purpose. Behind them, red lights scanned. The trees. The hunt had begun, but so had something else. The bond was growing, and whatever came next, they would face it together. Asterisk style. Third person, simple English, emotional plus action tension theme. She's evolving, but not into a weapon. Something deeper is awakening. Opening scene, deep forest, hidden cave. Rain fell gently across the trees of Alaris, dripping from leaf to leaf, touching the earth like quiet tears. Inside a shadowy cave, lit only by soft blue stones, Lyra sat across from Mason. Her breathing was steady now, but her eyes burned like stars. Something inside her was growing stronger, but it wasn't power. It wasn't anger. It was emotion. She looked at Mason, not as a soldier, not as a stranger, but as someone her body and mind couldn't ignore anymore. You feel me? She asked softly. Mason nodded, confused but honest. Yeah, he said, and I don't know why. Flashback fragment. Serum lab on Earth. A quick cut to the past. A steel room. Scientists in white coats. A glowing vial being sealed. Dr. Kessler speaks into a recorder. Project V-Surge doesn't just enhance combat instincts. It amplifies emotional response. Fear, loyalty, attraction, connection. We wanted soldiers who fought harder, because they felt more. Back to the present. That's what Lyra drank. A human-designed serum made to awaken the deepest parts of the human brain, now flowing through an alien girl's veins, and her heart had chosen him. Back in the cave. Tension builds. Lyra stood up. Her movements were graceful, but something had changed. Her steps were more confident. Her posture more human. She walked to the cave's edge and looked out at the trees. I see more now, she said. Hear more, feel more. She looked back. At him. Even you. Mason didn't speak. He could and single quotes. His training told him to keep his distance. She was an alien, an unknown, a possible threat, but his body told him to stay close. Suddenly she winced and held her head. Sparks of light danced across her skin. What's happening to you? Mason asked, rushing forward. Lyra's voice was a whisper. I'm not breaking. I'm becoming. Scene shift. Human team in pursuit. Meanwhile, the human hunters. We're closing in. Thermal scanners, motion trackers. Quiet guns. Subject is mutating, said one soldier into a radio. Targeting both physical and emotional centers. If she bonds fully with Mason, we may lose control. Orders remain, came the cold reply. End her before that happens. Back to the cave, the storm within. Lyra stepped away from Mason and stood beneath the rain outside the cave. Water ran down her face, but her skin steamed where it touched her. Her energy was unstable now. Mason walked toward her, slowly. You need help. We have labs, tech. We can fix this. She turned her head slightly, not angry, just sad. Fix? She said. You mean remove it? We don't know what it's doing to you, Mason said carefully. And you don't know either. Kalira placed a hand on her chest. I do. For the first time, I feel alive. She stepped closer. The serum did not destroy me. It awoke something. The first touch. She raised her hand, trembling. Mason didn't pull away. Their hands touched, soft, brief, but it was like lightning passed between them. Kalira gasped. So did Mason. This isn't just biology, she whispered. No, Mason said. It's something else. Sudden. Attack hunters arrive. A loud mechanical shriek echoed through the forest. Drones. The cave exploded behind them as a small missile hit the rock wall. Mason pulled Kalira down just in time. Soldiers stormed the clearing. Guns aimed. Step away from the target, one shouted. Now, Mason stood, arms wide. Don't shoot, she's not hostile. But they didn't care. Kalira's eyes flickered bright silver. Her fear twisted into something sharp, a need to protect. She moved. Fast. Too fast. In 1 second, she disarmed the first soldier, twisted mid-air, and knocked 3 more back with a blast of glowing energy from her hands. Mason stared in shock. She's not just faster. She's evolved. Ending scene. Standing together. The last soldier tried to grab her. Mason fired a warning shot. Enough, he shouted. She's not the threat, you are. The soldiers hesitated. Kalira stood beside Mason now, eyes glowing, body tense. You protect me, she said softly. I guess I do, Mason replied. Above them, the clouds swirled. Something big was coming. This wasn't just about the serum anymore. It was about what she was becoming and what they were becoming together. Opening scene. After the battle, rain-soaked clearing, smoke rose from the broken trees. The bodies of stunned soldiers lay scattered across the ground, alive but defeated. And in the center of it all stood Kalira, her silver eyes glowing. Softly as the rain fell around her like glass, she wasn't breathing hard. She wasn't angry. She looked afraid of herself. Mason's voice, soft, uncertain. What was that? Lieutenant Mason lowered his weapon, still staring at her. You didn't just defend yourself. You moved like something else. That wasn't training. That was instinct. Kalira took a step back. I didn't want to hurt them, she whispered. I only wanted to stop them. Mason nodded, slowly. You did. But they're not going to stop. They both looked up. Above the clouds, more ships were coming. She wasn't safe anymore. And neither was he. Scene shift, human command, orbiting ship inside a steel room filled with red lights and angry voices. General Voss slammed his fist onto a screen. This is what happens when we lose control of our own weapon. Dr. Kessler's face appeared on a monitor. She's not a weapon. The serum wasn't made for her species. It's adapting in ways we never predicted. And that's exactly the problem. Voss leaned closer. If the serum gave her powers, what else is it changing? Scene shift. Forest shelter, nightfall. Mason and Kalira had taken refuge in an old alien temple, half covered in vines, humming softly with ancient energy. Kalira sat near a glowing pillar, her arms wrapped around her knees. Her skin still glowed faintly under the moonlight. They'll never stop chasing me, she said. Maybe not, Mason replied. But I'm not going to let them take you. She looked up sharply. Why? I'm not human. I'm not part of your people. I'm not even supposed to feel what I feel. Mason sat beside her, quiet for a moment. Neither am I. Flashback fragment. Mason's memory. Military lab. Screaming. Flashing lights. Soldiers injected with early versions of the V-Surge serum, all losing control. One by one. Only Mason had survived the trial version, but it had changed something inside him. made him colder, made him distant. Until now. Until her. Back to the temple. Emotional tension builds. Kalira's voice broke the silence. I wasn't supposed to feel desire, fear, longing. We Alari, we are trained to control emotion. She touched her chest. But now, I dream of you. I hear your voice when I sleep. I feel warmth when you're close, and when you're far. I feel lost. Mason didn't move. The serum didn't just change your body, he said. It's changing your heart. No, she said softly, almost in wonder. It's helping me find it. Sudden interruption signal detected. A soft beep echoed from Mason's wrist communicator. A private signal. Incoming transmission. Encrypted. He stepped away and activated it. Dr. Kessler's voice whispered through the static. Mason, listen. They're sending a kill squad. You both have less than 12 hours. But there may be a way to stabilize her permanently. You need to reach Sector 9, the old relay site. Mason looked at Kalira across the stone room. She was watching him closely. Why are you helping us? Mason asked. Kessler's voice was cold and quiet. Because if they get to her first, they'll erase everything she's become, and she's more than any of us expected. Kalira's breakdown, a moment of pain. Mason ended the call. Kalira stood up, tense. You're going to leave. Man, she said. No. They will turn you against me, she whispered. They will promise you safety, glory, command. All if you give me up. Her voice cracked. Something in her had broken, not her body, but something deeper. Her trust. Mason stepped toward her. They already tried, he said, and I said no. I'm not protecting you because you're a science project. I'm doing it because I feel it too. Kalira stared at him, trembling. Then you're changing too. Ending scene, a silent promise. As the stars moved above them, the two sat close, not speaking, not touching. But something passed between them, a silent promise. They didn't know what tomorrow would bring, only that they would face it. Together. Not because of a mission. Not because of a serum. Because of something far more dangerous. Real connection. Asterisk. Opening scene. The ruins of Sector 9 before sunrise. The air was cold. Mist moved low over the stone floor as the wind howled through the ruins of Sector 9, a forgotten relay outpost once used for deep space communication. Now it was silent, abandoned. But tonight, it had become the place where everything would change. Kalira stood alone at the center of the ruined platform, the soft blue light of her skin flickering with tension. Her silver eyes stared toward the sky. Two ships were coming. One carried the last chance to stabilize the serum inside her. The other carried her people, the Alari, who had finally found her. And were not pleased. Behind her, Mason watched quietly. He hadn't said much since the journey began, because he knew something she hadn't told him yet. The Alari were coming to erase everything she had become. Scene shift. Flashback. Alari. High Council decision. On the crystalline capital of Alaris, high above the clouds, the Alari Council gathered in silence. Their eyes glowed softly as they watched Kalira's last transmission. Her new movements. Her glowing skin. Her emotions. She is no longer one of us, a counselor said. She is bonded to a human. Contaminated. The connection must be severed. A final command echoed through the hall. Bring her home. Or bring her down. Back at Sector 9, the choice grows closer. Kalira sat beside an ancient stone wall, her hands shaking lightly. Her senses were overloaded, heart pounding, vision shifting, feelings rising too fast. I hear them, she whispered. My people, they're almost here. Mason walked over and knelt in front of her. If they want to bring you back, will you go? She looked into his eyes. I don't know. You're afraid, he said. I'm everything they fear, she replied. Scene shift. Human dropship en route to Sector 9 inside a small human ship. Dr. Kessler finished setting up the stabilization injector. If we do this, he said to his assistant, she may lose the link, the emotional bond. She may forget him. And if we don't, her body will keep evolving until it can't stop. The arrival, Ilari scout ship lands. A beam of white light cut through the sky. A sleek alien vessel descended silently at the edge of the ruins. From it stepped 3 Ilari guardians, dressed in white robes that shimmered like liquid glass. Their leader, Alander Kaliras. Old Mentor spoke first. Kalira, we came to bring you home. She stood slowly, heart racing. I'm not sure where home is anymore. Then you are lost. Mason stepped beside her, tense. She's not lost. She's just different. Elander's eyes narrowed. You infected her. Your serum poisoned her. You took her from us. She drank it, by accident. But everything after, that was her choice. Kalira's breakdown pulled in 2 directions. Kalira looked from Mason to Elander. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want any of it. Her voice cracked. But now I feel, I care, I love. You taught us to control emotion, but I never felt alive until I broke those rules. Then you are not Ilari anymore, Elander said coldly. Sudden arrival, Kessler's ship appears. The second ship landed behind them. Dr. Kessler emerged with the stabilization injector. Kalira, he said, you need this. It's the only way to control what's inside you. She turned slowly. And what will it take from me? Maybe just the overload, he said. Maybe the bond, maybe Mason. She held the device in her hands, staring at it like it was a weapon. Final tension. The moment of choice. Elander raised his hand. Come with us. We will restore your purity. Kessler stepped forward. Take the injection. Save yourself. Mason said nothing. He just looked at her and said one thing. You already know what you are. Kalira looked at all 3 of them. 3 paths. 3 futures. 1 choice. Ending scene. The glow spreads. Kalira stepped back, took a deep breath, and crushed the injector. In her hand, silver light exploded from her skin. Her voice was calm now, powerful. I'm not a weapon, not a mistake, not property. I'm something new. And with a wave of her hand, she sent a burst of energy that knocked back the guardians. Not in harm, but in warning. She turned to Mason. I choose. Me, and I choose this. Opening scene, sky above Ilaris hours later. The stars above. Ilaris had never looked so bright, and so quiet, but deep beneath the silence, a storm was building. Not in the sky. In her, Kalira stands at the edge of Sector 9, her power. Awakened, silver light pulsed beneath Kalira's skin, her body humming like a living star. The serum had changed her, but it hadn't turned her into a weapon. It had turned her into a choice. A living bridge between 2 worlds. And now, both wanted her. Mason stands beside her, silent, steady. He hadn't said a word since she crushed the injector. Not because he was angry, not because he was scared, but because, for the first time, he wasn't in control. She was, and he was. Okay with that. Scene shift, human warship above the planet. Inside the command deck, General Voss watched Kalira's glowing energy readings spike off the charts. She's unstable. No injection, no control. She's a threat to the galaxy. Sir, a lieutenant said quietly, she hasn't attacked. In fact, she defended our own. That doesn't matter, Voss turned. Prepare the orbital cannon. If we can't contain her, we'll erase her. Scene shift, Ilari Council, listening to the shock waves. The Ilari felt it too, the pulse of her transformation. The Power that no longer obeyed their rules. She has broken the path, one elder said. She is not Elari. Then she is something else, another whispered. Something more. Back to the ground, Kalira Eshart speaks first. Kalira turned to Mason. They all want me to choose a side. To pick one world, one shape, one way of being. She placed a hand on her chest. But this isn't about sides anymore. This is about truth. She looked toward the sky. And the truth is, I don't want to be a weapon. I don't want to be saved. A pause. I want to be loved. I want to belong. Not as a tool. Not as a threat. As me. Mason's answer, quiet, steady, real. Mason stepped forward. His voice was soft. You already belong, right here. He placed a hand over hers. You don't need to prove yourself. Not to them. Not to me. A pause. You felt broken because you changed. But maybe. Change was the cure. Kalira's eyes shimmered, not with power, but with tears. Then love was the real mutation. Final conflict. The cannon charges. Suddenly, a warning alarm blared across the sky. The human warship had locked onto Sector 9. The orbital cannon began to glow, ready to fire. Kalira looks up, makes her final choice. She closed her eyes, took a breath, then stepped forward. They still fear me. Mason looked up, horrified. No, Kalira, if you go up there, they need to see what I've become. You'll die. She smiled gently. No, I'll show them something stronger than any weapon. Final scene, in orbit, alone in front of the cannon. Kalira rose into the sky, her body lifted by the same energy the serum had awakened. She hovered in front of the warship, her arms open, not attacking. I am Kalira, her voice echoed across the frequencies. I am Elari, and more. I am not your threat. I am your future. The cannon charged fully. General Voss gritted. His teeth. Fire. But then, something impossible. The cannon didn't fire. The ship's systems went dark dot all over the planet. Lights flickered. Signals froze. Weapons shut down dot and in their place. A soft pulse. Kalira's energy had connected to the tech. Not destroyed it. Calmed it. Her power was not chaos dot, it was balance. Back on the surface. Mason watches the sky. He felt it before he saw her. A warmth in his chest. A pulse that matched his own heartbeat. Then she descended, softly, alive, smiling. Their final words, quiet, unbreakable. You came back. Mason said. I never left, Kalira replied. They stood together, two species, two souls, no longer broken, no longer afraid. Final shot across the galaxy, back in orbit. Both fleets backed away, not out of fear, but out of respect. Something new had been born, not a weapon, not a soldier, but a connection.